Right, so today we are fixing our biggest problem in this house, which is the water intrusion. We have done so much to solve it so far of partitioning off the walls on the interior of the house, but today we are digging out and installing a French drain, as well as I think tomorrow putting on a concrete top to this entire back end of the house to prevent any water from coming in. There's a lot of layers to this and complexity, and I'll do my best to explain as we go. But first, we need to clean everything out and start digging. This first tube has nothing to do with the drainage system. This is for air, actually. This tube leads all the way down to the bottom floor underneath the crawl space, or actually to the wall behind the crawl space. And we have one pipe coming here, one pipe coming from the other side. We're gonna bring the two tubes from either side of the house, bring them to the middle of the house, tee them up, bring that tube up and tie it to a fan, basically a fan that you would use to pull out radon gas out of a slab-on grade foundation. The same concept applies here, except it's for drying things out. We're not as concerned with radon because that'll naturally find its way out through the crawl space, but this will add constant circulation of air to dry out any moisture from beneath the house as well as the back wall. Ok, bravo, grazie. Tanto lavoro.
Neanche serva più che altro.
Ma molto importante lavoro.
Vediamo?
Sì.
Là. Facciamo prima fare il giro però.
No, perché adesso era così. Missed. So real quick, I just want to thank the sponsor for today's video, June's Journey. If you haven't heard of it, June's Journey is a captivating hidden objects mystery game that takes you back to the glamour of the 1920s. Each chapter takes you through a thrilling murder mystery detective story where the main character, June Parker, is on a mission to uncover her family's secrets and solve the mystery of her sister's murder. The game is completely free to download and play and is available on iPhone as well as Android and is available on PC through Facebook Games. This is a relaxing problem-solving game where you'll be finding hidden objects in fun vintage environments, and it can be really fun when you're on a roll quickly finding clues and racking up points. Throughout this detective story, you'll be able to remodel your own mansion and garden island. Not only is the storyline of June's Journey captivating, but playing the game is a great way to relax, as finding the hidden objects is a great way to unwind. So if you'd like to embark on your own adventure with June's Journey, then download the game completely free today using our link in the description below, or by scanning this QR code, and thank you so much to June's Journey for sponsoring today's video. Well, the good news is that it naturally slopes up in the direction we need it to, so we don't have to dig to account for the slope. But the bad news is that it slopes up, and therefore the roof gets smaller, and the second half you're digging like this. No good.
We're not young forever, but when we were together, time slowed down. And we didn't have forever, but I didn't mind whenever you were around. I guess I didn't know what I had found.
I can't imagine doing this without this little lift system that we've built up. It's nothing but transferring it from one bucket to one wheelbarrow to a motorized wheelbarrow, and it goes slow, but I'm thankful that we're getting through it.
Ever feel like going back when nothing seemed to be a drag? You ran until your legs gave way, then you cried and got back up again. And it's real to think that I could fly across a broken bridge in the fading light. Never thought ahead of my 2 feet. Never had a care in the world, you see.
So now that we are about halfway through digging, I thought I'd explain to you what we are working on today. Here's a very crude drawing of the system that I'm going for. Right now we're working on digging a channel for a French drain. It'll go down about 40 to 50 centimeters, but that French drain is actually the second line of defense to stop water from coming into the house. The first line of defense is a cement cover. We're going to actually cover the entire back area in concrete, first sloping away from the retaining wall and then sloping up against the house to capture any water coming down or through the dry stacked retaining wall and prevent it from entering the house. And all of that water from this concrete cover will be carried out. But for any water that slips behind the dry stacked walls, that goes down as far as 50 centimeters, any water that comes up through the ground, that is what this French drain is for. So we will wrap that in a drainage fabric as well as drainage rock, but really that's only accounting for hopefully just a small percentage of the water, as that concrete cover will be capturing the majority of it. Well, it's the next day, trying to pick up where I left off. I did not expect digging this hole over here to take 4 or 5 hours. Here we dug a hole to take all of the water that's coming down this path here and to dump it underground. You actually can't see. Behind that wall is an empty space that we will add a gutter system to take all of the water we collect, run it behind the new room out away from the house. But it just so happened that we had to dig through 3 feet of rock to get through the mountain, and that was not fun. But back here we are looking great. We have our trench dug out for the French drain. But it's time to bring in the pipe itself, all of the plastic, fabric, drainage rock, and then a lot of concrete. So for anyone who's installed a French drain, this plastic is going to confuse you. I'll explain that later. But right now we're laying the pipe, fitting it out with a top. We have a ton of these old cement tiles that we're recycling just to create a cover over top of our French drain, and then we'll be pouring cement over top of that, which again, if you've ever done a French drain, that will also very much confuse you. But unique circumstances require unique solutions, I guess. The French drain is only to capture water coming in from the side. It is not to capture rainwater coming from the top. So we will be putting another layer of plastic across like this all the way up, and then creating basically a little valley out of concrete for all of the water to run down. Now, because these walls are dry stacked, the water will come and 95% of it will stay on top, but the rest will seep down further into the dirt, which is what this French drain is meant for. And yes, that French drain should have fabric wrapped around it, but that's not how they do things in Italy, which I don't agree with. But as a result, you cannot find fabric anywhere. I spent several hours driving around from store to store to store, and all they have is landscape fabric to stop weeds from growing like this. So this is landscape fabric, and I ran a test on it, and the water simply does not soak through fast enough. So it would render the French drain completely useless. So unfortunately, I'm moving forward without fabric, which is not great, but since this French drain is kind of the backup solution, it's only meant to capture 2 or 3% of the water. I don't think enough water will be flowing through there. The water's already sort of naturally filtered from the mountain and the dry stacked rock, so there's less chance of clay building up, but we'll be adding a clean out just in case clay does build up. Again, not the proper way to build a French drain, but I'm using what materials I can find here.
pezzo qua, dai. Look for the job is
Huh? Yeah?
best.
Yeah? Buono. Sì. Ouch. All right, so I think we are ready to start pouring some concrete. Let me show you the beautiful madness we have going on here. We have our tube down, our drainage rock, a row of these cement tiles so that we can walk on it to not crush everything, and then a layer of plastic draped over everything. We'll pour the concrete in here with a channel so that the water runs down into the tube that I just set up. And then as we go, we'll cut this plastic and tie the concrete into the retaining wall. I'm taking care to put all of my tube lines to run electricity for the various things we have going on back here. There's a lot of tubes. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 tubes buried underneath this plastic right now. Doing my best to think through everything to make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. Otherwise, we'll have to run tubes exposed, which doesn't look nice. Again, with a normal French drain setup, you would never put down a layer of plastic on top like this, but this is not a normal French drain setup. That French drain, again, is only to capture the water coming in from the side or coming up, but mostly from the side. And it's better to simply have the plastic and the concrete on top to block the water from coming in at all, rather than using the French drain. The French drain is that last line of defense. Really quick, don't forget about June's Journey. You can download the game completely for free using our link in the description below or by scanning this QR code. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week.